All right, so I'm gonna kind of, put myself out there and do something I've never done before, but I just thought of, um, and you know, told a lot of stories over the years in hopes of helping any other struggling veterans tell their stories, and a lot of those stories, end in some type of, tragedy, or has a lesson that kind of underscores the darkness of war. But not all things, there are bad all the time. There are times that life happens, um, and so I figured I'll start doing funny Friday war stories. So in a way to share another side of what happens in war, but also perhaps to give insight to the brotherhood, in moments like that. So today I'm going to tell the story of me and my section, about 6 soldiers, and we had to do a night operation. This is in Baghdad, urban operation. This is 2003. We were an artillery unit. We were the first artillery unit in U.S. Army history to be trained in infantry warfare and urban operations. We only had about 30 days, 60 days at the most, to prepare to go to war and become infantrymen in a way. Learn how to raid houses and kick down doors, and we're fortunate enough to train with special forces, to learn that. But anyway. So scenario is night operation. When I say night op, I'm talking like 2 a.m. And so this is a high priority mission. We have to practice for it, and this one was especially interesting because when we would raid houses. Sorry about that. Yeah, that call come in. When we would raid houses, a lot of the times, we just get dropped off, by the Humvees, and maybe like a house or two before, quietly, and we just stack up and hit, crash through that front door if that calls for. If there was a fence, we tear that down first, and always kind of be through the front. But some operations, called for different points of entry. So in this particular building, this is kind of like a high-rise type building, maybe 5 stories that we were supposed to hit, and specifically there was supposedly some Fedayeen guys there, weapons, and so for us was to hit them, element of surprise, middle of the night, and whatever happened. And so it was funny. There was a building parallel to it, and there was a team, that had to go out and provide like recon to make sure, that that building was clear, because we were gonna have to go through one building first, with no one knowing that we're there. Sprint up to the roof of that building to then have a makeshift bridge, from one rooftop to the other, because on this target house, we were going to hit them from the top down. And you got to think, man, you got to be quiet, and as quiet as possible. And so, we train, and so we're heading out to do this mission. Everyone is just you're locked in mentally. It's surreal. Really can't explain what it's like before you raid a house in combat and prepare for battle. But so we get to the target house, and we sprint up the stairs of the house that we're the building we're going to go up first, because we're getting to that rooftop, and then we're going to cross over like this little plank board from one rooftop to another to, once we get to the other rooftop, that's where we stack up and we prepare to raid, but we're going to raid from the roof down. And, so we successfully get to the rooftop, and it literally is kind of like you see in movies, middle of the night. This is a residential area. Complete, silence is a must, because once we're compromised, we're going to have to wait to be extracted, which, if we get into a firefight, we have to fight, until the, reinforcements arrive or whatever. And so we, successfully crossed from one rooftop to the next. And, never forget Chief, we're kind of doing the hand signals and all that. And we immediately notice that, we open the door that we're going to have to go down, and we see bags of trash. And there was also piles of trash. And in that pile was like a bunch of empty like soda cans. And you were going to have to, walk over the trash and all that without making a peep. So, and just to kind of circle back, I'm talking about a raid, that we're doing. This is Baghdad 2003, Sector 51 West, Al Adamiyah. And again, we're the first artillery unit in Army history to be trained for infantry operations, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Field Artillery. And so, you're talking about, a bunch of artillery guys all of a sudden, took a crash course, from some Green Berets on CQB, and now we're hitting, our first house pretty much. And, we're having to go in through one home, and this is, in a residential area, get through that house, it's clear, get to the rooftop, and then a team earlier had set, kind of plywood to provide us like a bridge from one rooftop to the next, because the house we're hitting them from the top down, instead of coming in through the front. And intel had it that, there was potential fedayeen in there, and also weapons cache, potential, booby traps. So everything, had to be calculated. So we're stacked up, and we're about to kind of go in through the roof and go down these stairs. But, sorry, I had a call. So there's a bunch of trash, like garbage bags, and then cans, soda cans that were kind of in the way in that staircase. So you literally were going to have to, step over that, and because everything is an element of surprise. And we've seen the movies, we know Gomer Pyle, we know that, and the one thing that needed to not happen was for us to make any noise before we hit, this house. And so I remember, getting over, the trash and the cans, carrying a 249 saw and an M16-203. And so I'm carrying my load, and then I can't say it, I don't want to say his name. Oh boy, he just, I don't know how, but miscalculated and hit the cans and the trash, and it all went bing, bing, boom, boom, boom. And you got to think, this is 2 a.m. in the middle of Baghdad, residential area we're about to raid, and this dude just completely announces to whoever the fuck is in the house that we're right there. And it was just it happened so fast that I gave that really look, but it had to be that quick. And we just went and we hit. And fortunately for us, there was no one, in the home. And, we were okay. We found some weapons and stuff. But I always wondered, what if, the fedayeen wasn't there? And, oh boy, and you got to think, you practice 1,000 times, and sometimes, shit happens. So this is a funny Friday war story, about the time a brother, of mine in the middle of a raid, as we're, about to go in, knocks over a bunch of trash and lets, everybody know, hey, America's here. So good vibes. I've told a lot of stories on the horrible things that happens there, but I want people to understand that, and it's moments like those that that's why the brotherhood is so strong and the sisterhood, because we lived through that together, and not mad at them, and it wasn't like that. It was like dumbass, So did I ever get deployed to Africa? No, I only deployed once. I was part of the invasion with 23FA spring 2003 into Iraq. So I did OIF 1 and 2, did 2 consecutive tours. We were extended past the year mark because our particular unit was tasked to secure Baghdad and hunt for Saddam and all that. So I never did deploy to Africa. So hope this story maybe brightens your day. And if you're a veteran, you come upon this and you have stories like this, and you're keeping them locked up. You know what? Start telling them at home, or your friends or whatever. But I think it's important for us to shed light on these moments too. So God bless.